Hello and welcome to Mr. Anderson Reviews Geek Girl #1. This is volume 2, by the way, with the 7 questions of review in just 7 minutes. We have a 7-minute timer up here that we're going to set off in just a minute. But first, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. You can get all the stuff for the Geek Girl comics, all the Geek Girl related stuff that you have at geekgirlcomics.com, and you can check out their group right here. We're reviewing Geek Girl today. Credits Sam Johnson is the writer, Carlos Granda is the artist, Chulu Zahu is the colorist, and Paul McLaren is the letterer. And covers by Carlos Granda and Chuchula Zaho and Marcel Specchielli. And it's created by Sam Johnson. All right, so, and yes, this is an ongoing series in volume 2, and this is available again on Geek Girls Comics. And here are the questions I'm going to be doing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the clock, and we're going to begin right now. 7 minutes. All right. So my first impression of the title, this is, of course, a returning title, Geek Girl. We've seen this before. This is the brand new volume of it, and as we can see right away, the main character focus of this story is no longer Ruby. In fact, we have a new Geek Girl, which is fantastic. So I was excited to see how the transition went, what was going to be going on, how is this going to be different. And as you guys can see, it's not always going so good in the very beginning of the issue, as the new character is having her problems as Ruby did becoming a hero. How did the story flow? Honestly, the story flowed beautifully. I was really in love with the character development in this. I got to be really honest about this. Story has some amazing character-driven moments. And as a writer, I'm a very big character-driven creator, meaning that I really look at the characters and what it means and how they interact with the universe that they're in. So to me, this is very important when it comes to how the character is going to develop, how the changes are going to be, and it's a very awesome continuation of the original story and taken on its head and given a new character to focus on, which is awesome. Thoughts on the art? Oh, well, you guys can see this is some great art. I love the cover art right there. I love the fact that there's a new geek in town. Here you guys can see. And we'll just move this page over here so I don't keep hitting it. But I love this scene. The intricacy of this scene is so amazing. And, you know, the way that the characters are all drawn and they all fit so well into the universe, I do appreciate the art. The art is fantastic. And you know what is not really mentioned too much, but I just wanted to say that I was really impressed with is the diversity in the cast of characters. Like, it seems like a real world kind of comic book where the interaction seems to be with many different characters from many different backgrounds. And that's always awesome to see in a comic book because it feels very real to me. I grew up in New York City, so this is a reflection. And sometimes I do notice books to be lacking of diversity. I have seen it, and I like when a book doesn't lack in diversity and it seems like a real world. And I do appreciate that. I like seeing characters that aren't always looking like you're in the Matrix. I'll put it that way. So that's so awesome to see that. We're going to go on to our fourth question already. Oh, how did the story flow? I think I talked about that, how the characters really drove the story. Just to make sure that I repeat that, the characters of these books, I mean, you even got Pitbull here who really comes to life. I really love how he kind of jumps off the page as his own character. Even the Mean Girls attitude seems so real in the book, and it seems so amazing. And even the character right here who has to put up with these mean girls, you see this beautiful moment where she stands up for herself. But even at the bottom, you see right here where she has that feeling of being beaten up by these mean girls. So I do think it's a fair reflection of exactly how we treat people at times. So the flow of the story was amazing. It kept making me want to turn the page, or in this case, flip to the next one. Were the characters relatable and interesting? Obviously, I'm ranting about how amazing they are, so I'm going to have to say yes on that. what was the best part of the comic to me? I'd have to say the best part of the comic were the characters, especially the villain building. I really do appreciate the villain building in this, as you're getting this team of characters that you're very interested in, especially especially the fact that there is this instant wanting to know more about him, even though they're the bad guys. And it's hard to do that with villains, get people interested in villains. But Sam does it, man. I want to know more about these characters. I want to know more about what brings them together. And I want to know who this guy is. I want to know his origin. I want to know more about him. I want to know what makes him him. So fantastic job on villain building. And a lot of comics actually fail to give you a good villain. I mean, Marvel movies have been complained about the lack of a good villain for years now. Did it leave me wanting a next issue continued story? Now, it's funny because I actually read Geek Girl 2 out of sequence. And I really like Geek Girl 2. And I almost felt like Geek Girl 2 stood alone without Geek Girl 1. I actually didn't realize I hadn't read Geek Girl 1 until I had been in the middle of it. And I realized, oh, wait, I'm probably missing something. Because there was a moment where I was like, wait, this had to have been explained somewhere. And I actually asked him, but he's like, you never read one? I was like, no, I never read one. And I did a live review with him on it. So you guys can see that if you just look up Geek Girl on our site. You can actually see me talking about the second issue. So I read them out of order. So, but even with that, now knowing issue 1, now knowing issue 2, I'm excited for issue 3. Even more so. Issue 2 had me hooked for 3, but now I want to see it even more. Do I recommend this comic to others? And my final thoughts with 60 seconds to spare. I've got a few seconds to talk about this. First off, yes, I recommend this. This is a great book. This cover speaks volumes because of even the diversity in the cover. I like the fact that a character has been given the glasses and it doesn't feel at all awkward or wrong. In fact, it feels natural. In her mind, she's just helping out her friend and picking up for the slack, and she's doing the best she can do. In her mind, and hopefully this isn't a huge spoiler because I don't like spoilers, but in her mind, she doesn't really want to stay Geek Girl. She's just holding the spot open to make sure that people aren't getting away with it. And with the help of Pitbull, she's trying to become the next Geek Girl. And as you guys can see, Ruby right here, she's still in a coma. We don't know what's going on with Ruby. I mean, for those who are, I'm a fan of Geek Girl back when it was just Ruby being Geek Girl. I'm like traumatized that she's in a coma. I want to know what happens to that character, but it's nice to see someone picking up the slack. It's not nice to see the villains entering the town. So this is an amazing story told by amazing characters. And I definitely have to say that it's an Anderson approved, and we just got it. We just made it. We're just out of time. This is a 7-minute review, so that's it. It's an Anderson approved. It's a fantastic book that talks about characters and creates characters that are so believable they jump off the page for you. Your imagination begins to think of other circumstances with them. And it is available on Geek Girl Comics, Indie Planet. And I'm not the only one doing a great review of it, as you guys can see right here. Please take the time today to check out Geek Girl.